me.
The headlines tonight from Essex, Suffolk and Norfolk. 4 years in jail for the gambling addict who stole £1 million to fund a betting frenzy.
The judge said the fact that only half of the money he stole went on gambling spoke volumes. Most of the remaining £500,000 is still unaccounted for.
A fishing lake in Essex is drained as detectives continue their search for missing clubber Jack Morad.
In Ipswich, they think it's all over as Town slumped to their worst league position in 60 years.
And are you taking part in Dry January? We'll be finding out what it's all about.
Hello, a gambling addict saw his luck run out today when he was jailed for 4 years for theft. Steve Girling stole £1 million from his employer so he could feed his online betting habit.
Norwich Crown Court was told the 36-year-old, a father of two, would sometimes gamble £50,000 a day. It's estimated about half the stolen money went on gambling. What happened to the rest is a mystery, but he did buy a new house. Alex Dunlop was in court.
Steve Girling arrives at court today knowing he's going to jail. In his favour is his early admission of guilt and his remorse. What counts against him is that as a finance director of a sports education firm, he was in a position of trust, a trust he betrayed. A few days ago, Girling showed me his prison bag, already packed. Inside, a memento photo album from his wife and 2 children.
I've got some things to remind me of whilst I'm away.
Over 3.5 years, Steve Girling siphoned off £1.1 million from his company and blew half of it online. On one day alone, he gambled away £50,000.
It's something I deeply regret. I'm thoroughly ashamed of my actions and my behaviour. Whatever the judge says, I have to accept, and I'll obviously take it on the chin and move forward.
Gambling firms wooed Girling with VIP tickets to Ascot and on a 5-star holiday to Dubai, but not all the money was gambled away. Today, the court heard how he moved to a larger house, paid off the mortgage, and also set up ISA accounts for his children. Sentencing Girling to 4 years, the judge told him that his thefts were skillful and professionally planned and executed. The fact that only half of the money he stole went on gambling, he said, spoke volumes. The rest is still unaccounted for. Girling's wife Rochelle had no idea of his crime or his addiction to gambling, but tonight she's standing by him.
Well, it's kind of what we expected. Obviously, that'll be 2 years and then the rest will be on licence.
£500,000 is still missing. Has that been stashed away?
No. I mean, we've had police officers, sniffer dogs in the house. There's absolutely nothing. There's no way, definitely not.
Steve Girling will have to pay back hundreds of thousands of pounds. He'll have to sell the home where just days ago he celebrated Christmas. When he eventually comes out of prison, he says he wants to help others learn from his crime and his addiction. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East, Norwich.
Well, earlier this afternoon, I spoke to Nuno Leitao from Break Even, a group which helps people who have a gambling addiction and which worked with Steve Girling. So how unusual is a case with this amount of money?
Well, probably for the public in general, it might seem too much, but it's not that unusual, to be honest with you.
And it can have a devastating effect on a family and the people around the person who's gambling.
Absolutely. A gambler affects, on average, 14 people around them, mainly family, friends, and even working colleagues. That's how devastating it can be.
But if somebody is putting £50,000 on, say, which is a lot of money to most people, shouldn't the gambling companies be saying, hang on, where's this money coming from?
I think that is what is missing mostly, is to understand where that money is coming from. In particular, if it's someone that has a day-to-day job, or they can spend 50,000 or even more than that. They should, and they do sometimes, but not as often as we would aim for.
Is it too easy to gamble a lot of money in this country?
Far too easy. You have your phone, you can do it on your tablet, on your computer. It's far too easy.
In the case of Mr. Girling, he is sorry. and apologising for it, but he has stolen a lot of money in order to pay for this habit. Is that what happens usually with gamblers?
Once you start and once you get the addiction, it's almost impossible to stop without professional help. When I say professional, could be meetings with other people or coming for counseling as they do. If they don't understand how the chemicals in their brain has been unbalanced by the addiction, it's difficult for them to understand how to stop gambling.
And how easy is it for somebody around those people to recognise a problem gambler?
I would say it's almost impossible, because the signs of a gambler are very similar to anyone who has mood swings, anyone who has feeling down or low for some reasons, could be for any other reason but gambling, and they don't understand why they are feeling so low, and the families can't understand that.
If somebody tonight is watching this and they believe they have an addiction to gambling, and maybe their family don't know, what would you ask them to do?
The good thing you can do immediately, even if counseling is not for you, you can call Break Even. And by calling Break Even, we'll take you further. Either you go for counseling, you can have phone counseling. There's many options. It's not just one-to-one counseling. There's other things you can do to overcome your problem.
And if you don't do something, the suicide rate or attempted suicide rate for gamblers is very high.
1 in 5. Higher than drugs and alcohol.
Mr. Leitao, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
And if you have a gambling problem or think you have a gambling problem, you can contact Break Even, which offers free counselling. The number is on the screen now. And there's more information on their website as well.